Heart of stone, hands free. The protective circle gleamed with blue and white runes, keeping the infernal heat and the howls of the remaining firewolves at bay. Kael, with his black hair and brown eyes, pressed his hands against the terrible wound on Torin's flank, healing water flowing from his fingers in a steady, yet too slow stream. He was a hydromancer, not a skilled healer. "Let me," said a calm voice. It was Elias, the group's healer, a middle-aged man with serene eyes and hands that had seen worse wounds. He knelt beside Kael, his hands glowing with a soft golden light that smelled of fresh herbs and damp earth. "You stabilized him. Now I'll heal him." Kael pulled back, panting, watching as Elias's magic worked. Torin's charred flesh regenerated. Color returned to his pale face. His deep, irregular breathing became regular and strong. In less than a minute, the mortal wound was a fresh pink scar. When Elias finished, Lyra and Doran stepped forward to help Torin stand. He was weak but conscious. His green eyes, still dull with shock, focused on Kael for a second, then fixed on the chamber. On the wounded but still living Alpha, being contained by ice barriers and water whirlpools. "No," Torin grunted, shaking off the arms supporting him. His voice was hoarse but urgent. "Need the crystal, the Forge Master's heart." In its core, Kael gripped his shoulder. "Torin, stop. Look around your comrades. They're all gone. What is that crystal going to give you now?" Torin raised his left arm with tremendous effort. He pulled back the sleeve of his scorched leather jerkin, revealing the brand of submission on his wrist, a complex, shadowy, arcane symbol that seemed to pulse with a faint, sickly light. "This," he rasped, his gaze burning with a mix of hatred and desperate hope, "gives me freedom." Kael looked at the brand, then at his brother's exhausted face. The final piece of the horrible puzzle clicked into place. Debt slavery. A suicide mission for manumission. His heart clenched with a sharp, cold pain. He didn't know all the details, but he understood enough. He understood the desperation. He raised his head, his face becoming a mask of calm determination. "Then we get the crystal." The other mages exchanged hesitant looks. The Alpha, even wounded, still emanated terrifying power. Grim grumbled. "Kael, our mission was the pelts. We have 6. Don't need." "I need," Kael interrupted, his voice not raised, but laden with a final authority. "Anyone who wants to fall back, fall back. Protect our retreat." "I'm going with them," but no one fell back. They formed a defensive rearguard as the group retreated through the tunnels. Now, clear of minor threats, back to the base camp they'd established in a secure chamber near the entrance. Their 3 instructor evaluators from the safe span awaited them, observing everything with critical eyes. Seeing the state of the group and the strange wounded man, the instructors acted. Mistress Thalassa, an ancient lizard woman, activated a runic artifact that emitted a wave of pure arcane fear, driving all dungeon creatures from the area for hours. The camp became a silent bubble of safety, a surreal contrast to the hell of minutes before. Torin was taken to a medical tent. Elias and Thalassa administered vigor elixirs and health potions that restored his physical strength, though nothing could cure the years of weariness in his soul. Kael waited outside, his fists clenched. When the instructors came out, gesturing he could enter, he pulled back the tent flap and saw Torin sitting on a cot, looking at his empty hands. The brand on his wrist seemed more visible under the magical lantern light. For hours, Kael just listened. He sat on the tent floor and listened as Torin spoke of Alara, the betrayal, the cage, the sail, spoke of Vorlag, the dungeons, the deaths of Borin, of Lina, of Silas, of Mira, of Kaelin. Each name was said with a coldness that tried to hide a deep tremor. He spoke of the contract, the 15 years, the promise of freedom. He spoke of the last mission, the trap he knew it was, but had to believe in. Kael didn't cry. His face was a smooth stone, but inside an ocean of fury and pain roared. The life he'd imagined for Torin hard, yes, but honorable was a nightmare worse than any dungeon. His brother had been broken and patched with cold steel and ashes. When Torin finished, the silence in the tent was thick. "You're not alone anymore," Kael said finally, his voice low but firm as riverbed rock. "We're getting that crystal. and you will be free." He left the tent and went to the group of classmates who were resting or checking their gear. Lyra, Doran, Ilara, Grim, Mira, and Elias looked at him. "I need to go back down there," Kael said. "I need your help to defeat the Alpha. It's not for the school, it's for him." Lyra stood first. "He's the family you carried in your name all these years, isn't he?" Kael nodded. "He's my family too," she said, picking up her staff. One by one, the other 6 stood. Doran thumped his hammer on his shield. A dwarf knows the value of paying a debt. Let's go. The instructors watched, but did not interfere. For them, it was another test, the final test of character and loyalty. Only Mistress Thalassa approached Kael. "The debt you owe the school for this intervention will be paid with future service. But go, bring your brother back." The second assault on the Alpha's chamber was a symphony of coordinated destruction. The creature, still weakened by the first battle, was met by a perfect storm. Grim and Doran contained it with ice walls and crushing blows. Alara and Myra enveloped it in paralyzing mists and viscous water currents. Lyra deflected its attacks with cutting winds. Elias kept the group protected with preventative healing barriers. And Kael. Kael was the heart of the storm. He didn't fight with rage, fought with a calculated coldness, born of 8 years of study, of waiting, of promise. He channeled his fury at what had been done to Torin into pure power. Water jets capable of cutting steel pierced the Alpha's weak points. Frost spread from its feet, immobilizing the ember paws. He controlled the air's moisture, smothering the flames the creature tried to regenerate. The battle was brutal. Doran took a blow that cracked his ice armor. Lyra had to dodge a jet of magma. They were 7. And they were united. Kael, seeing the Alpha staggering, its lava eyes losing their glow, mustered his last energies. He raised both hands, and the moisture from the entire chamber condensed into a single point above the ICAR. The sphere of compressed water the size of a human head, spinning so fast it sang. With a final gesture, he launched it. The sphere hit the Alpha in the chest with the impact of a tide. It didn't explode. It imploded, pulling the heat inward and freezing it instantly. The ember creature let out a final crack, its body becoming a statue of black rock and fissured ice. Silence. Then Torin, who had been watching from behind the line with a borrowed bow in his hands, stepped forward. His eyes weren't on the fallen monster, but on the point where the Alpha's chest was cracked. Inside, between ribs of steaming rock, pulsed a soft orange light, the Forge Master's heart. A perfect hexagonal crystal the size of a fist. He didn't hesitate. He knocked an arrow, aimed not to kill, but for precision. The arrow flew and struck the exact joint of a fissure. A dry snap echoed, and the crystal came loose, rolling onto the stony floor. Torin walked to it, picked it up. It was warm, but didn't burn. It pulsed with an ancient, powerful energy. He looked at Kael, and for the first time since the reunion, something beyond pain or urgency shone in his eyes. Hope. The exit from the dungeon was a silent, triumphant march. At the base camp, Kael went straight to Mistress Thalassa. "I need you to come with us," he said, "for the crystal's delivery." To ensure his freedom is honored, Thalassa studied his face, then Torin's, who held the crystal like it was a grenade. "This will cost," she repeated. "I'll pay any cost," Kael replied without blinking. The journey back to the frontier town where Vorlag was based took 2 days. 2 days of dusty roads, camps under the stars, and conversation. For the first time in 8 years, the walls between them fell. Kael told of the school, the bridge, the trials, the weight and honor of carrying the name Torin. Torin slowly let the coldness drop. He laughed hearing about Doran's antics, seemed impressed by Lyra's power, and even smiled a small, rare smile when Kael imitated Master Baldur's gravelly voice. They were men now. One, a mage with the marks of education and power. The other, a warrior with the scars of survival and betrayal. But between them, there were still the 2 boys who had shared a stolen fish. In the town, the delivery was tense. They found Vorlag in a grimy bar near the Adventurers Guild. The man was surprised to see Torin alive, and even more surprised to see the crystal and the imposing group of mages, led by a lizard mistress who radiated arcane authority. "The contract," Torin said flatly, extending the crystal. "Fulfilled." Vorlag took the crystal, his eyes gleaming with greed. Then, his eyes narrowed. The contract said retrieve, but it said nothing about external aid. "You brought a personal army, slave? Doesn't that void the terms?" That's when Thalassa stepped forward. "Master Vorlag," she said, her voice sibilant and cold. "I am Thalassa, mistress of arcanum law and ethics at the Safe Span. I examined the brand. The contract specifies the retrieval of the Forge Master's heart. It does not specify means. The slave fulfilled it. The debt is settled. As the designated assessor, I attest to this. If you disagree..." She made a subtle gesture, and the shadows in the bar seemed to lengthen and hiss. "I can summon the Interracial Council of Justice to examine your contractual practices. I hear they are especially interested in cases of trafficking youths with rare skills." Vorlag paled. The name Safespan carried weight. The threat of an interracial council which could involve dwarves, elves, and even representatives from Arcanum was terrifying. He swallowed dryly, forcing a tense smile. Of course. A misunderstanding. He pulled a blackened scroll from his bagtha, binding contract. With a match, he lit one corner. The flame consumed the scroll with a greenish glow, and on Torin's wrist, the brand of submission began to dissolve. The dark lines faded like smoke, leaving only clean skin scarred, but free. Torin looked at his wrist, then at the ashes of the contract on the floor. He didn't smile. He didn't cry. He just took a deep breath, as if it were the first true breath in a decade. The coldness in his eyes didn't disappear, but now there was a space, a small crack where something else could grow. Vorlag, feeling defeated and threatened, just muttered about lost pieces and bad investments before leaving the bar, clutching the crystal like a consolation prize. They stayed in town 3 more days. Kael needed to return to the Safe Span for the official graduation ceremony. Torin, now a free man without direction, stayed with him. On the last night, sitting by the river that ran through the town, under the same stars that had watched them grow, Kael spoke. "I have to go back, get my diploma, close this chapter. But I have a plan." Torin looked at him, his face lit by moonlight. "The school owes me favors," Kael continued. "And I am one of the 3 of the current. I can get a scholarship, a place, for a special student. Someone with a unique long-range combat skill that needs refining, supplemented with support magic, strategy, logistics." Torin understood. "You want to put me in the school?" "I want to give you a new start," Kael corrected. "Not as a slave, not as a disposable adventurer. As Torin, the celestial archer. As my brother. And then we can decide together. Go back to the Stranded. Go to Arcanum, start a magical escort company. The world is big, and now you can choose." Torin was silent for a long time, watching the river's current. "I don't know how to be anything else," he admitted, his voice almost a whisper. "I didn't know how to be a mage either," Kael said, smiling. "You learn. Together." The next morning, they said goodbye on the road that split. Kael would take a merchant ship Priver back to the Safe Span. Torin would accompany him to the dock. "I'll sort everything out in a month," Kael promised, gripping Torin's shoulders. "I'll send you a message through the guild system. Stay in the city, at the Grizzled Mariner Inn. I'll meet you there." Torin nodded. Words were hard. Instead, he pulled Kael into a strong, quick, but meaningful hug. It was the hug of a brother who thought he was dead, embracing the brother who brought him back to life. "Don't be long," Torin said, his voice rough. Kael smiled, his eyes shining. "We already waited 8 years. A month is nothing." He climbed the ship's gangplank. This time he didn't cry. He smiled. He smiled at the brother on solid ground, a free man, with a future ahead, a future that, for the first time, they would build together. The ship pulled away. Torin remained on the dock, no longer a silhouette of despair, but an upright figure, watching the ship disappear around the river bend. He touched his wrist where the brand had been. Nothing, just skin and bone, just possibility. He turned and started walking back to the city, to the inn, to the month of waiting. And for the first time in a very, very long time, the waiting didn't feel like a burden. It felt like a promise. They weren't two orphans fighting the current. They were two men, one with the strength of deep waters, the other with the precision of the open sky. And Etheria, with all its wonders and horrors, would have to make room for them both. It should be the end, but we're in Etheria, so it's just another beginning. Thank you for getting this far. Subscribe to the channel and receive more videos like this.